Hi everybody, it's Kris Bakke from Nasco Education, and if you have not ever seen or read this book to your elementary students, I highly recommend it. It is called Wilfrid, Gordon, McDonald, Partridge. So 4 names, but that's the beauty of this book is the little boy lives near an assisted living or like a nursing home. And so, of course, he knows all the residents, but he befriends one that has, she has 4 names too. And so he realizes like he's like her. Take note a little bit of these beautiful illustrations. The illustrator is Julie Vivas, V-I-V-A-S, and you can tell that it's sort of watercolor. Here's what's really cool about it though, is it's about a woman who has dementia. And so Wilson helps her start to remember, and it's just beautiful. I remember giving it actually to my mom for Mother's Day one year before we ever knew that she would have dementia, and now it just means tons to me. So it's a great way to talk about grandpas and grandmas and feelings and stuff like that. The lesson plan that I have to go with it, and that is included in the downloads for you guys, is called Abstract Watercolor Weaving. And the great part about this is it references the book, but then it gives this watercolor weaving. And you might say, like, weaving, I didn't see any weaving in the book. You didn't. It's just the idea of tying sort of watercolor method and talking about this artist and the medium that they use, and then how these people's lives were woven together. Fantastic social and emotional learning lesson as well. It'd be great to pair this up with the classroom teacher, the reading teacher, and in a family situation too. I just think it's a beautiful book, but then the actual lesson is pretty awesome too. On Nasco Educate, which is our K-to-Career Resource Center, it's a subscription for a platform that is K-to-Career, tons of content. There's some premium paid content in there, but there's also the content that just comes with the subscription. If you would like a free trial, send an email to me, kbakke@nascoeducation.com, because there you will also find the student guide. The student guide is sort of the quick and dirty, probably not the right way to put it, but I said it anyways, directions that have a little bit of visual with it. The lesson plan can be found both on Educate and NascoEducation.com, and this lesson plan is really developed for teachers with all the tips and the materials. So those, I will have the lesson plan as a handout. Just as a quick go through, you start by teaching watercolor techniques, and you teach 4 of the techniques, and you do it on a folded piece of paper. And so this was resist, splatter, wet on wet, and then just the dry method. I'll show you again, and I'll show you a couple just because this was 2 different kinds of watercolors used. Splatter, regular, wet on wet, and resist. So once the student creates those, they are then going to create their strips, and they're going to create their template. And so in the instructions, quite honestly, it tells you to create strips out of the construction paper, and I wouldn't, only because a beautiful art teacher hack is to create your template, or your weaving mat, I should say, by folding it in half, and I folded it the wrong way, folding it in half and cutting right up to the edge. And if you see that the edges here, I made some dots so that I knew where to cut. That way, when you're weaving, you don't have to take this and this and sort of create your own with, you can see already how cumbersome that is. This way I can just take my strip and go in and out, up and down. And you gotta teach them all the tricks on how to do that. I even laugh because as an adult, I have to remember, what did I do the last time? And pay close attention. And there's different ways you can weave and make it sort of a unique pattern. I'm gonna scoot all that down, but you can see that it holds in place so much nicer when you don't cut it all the way through. And then of course it starts to make a really cute pattern. And here's a completed one. I'll show you this way. Then I'll also put it down. What I love about this lesson as well is it can be done at home with pretty much anything. Magazines, newspaper. I absolutely loved using a garbage bag. And if you are from Wisconsin, as some of you are, Woodman's Grocery Store, fun fact, actually worked there for 8 years. And so that's my commercial for Phil Woodman and the 8 years that I worked there. But I took the Woodman's bag and I created my own little weaving mat. And then I took a country magazine and I chose this one just because it had really colorful pictures. And I cut up my strips and then started weaving. And I know I'm kind of a disaster, but you guys are all used to that. And if you're not used to that and you don't know me, I am Kris Bakke, the Education Customer Engagement Manager. And I would encourage you to get to know me because I love art teachers like crazy. I'm your biggest fan. And you could be my next lesson plan writer or my next guest on Maker Monday. But look at how cool that is with the magazine. I am sort of loving that. And again, it fits right along with this book because you talk about how our lives are intertwined and woven and that everybody has a colorful past. And, you know, it's just great to talk about, you know, how they feel about what's going on and who's in their family and all kinds of stuff like that. So you don't need to watch me continue to weave, but check out the lesson plan in the handouts that are provided and check out Nasco Educate. If you want a free trial, get a hold of me, K. Bakke, at nascoeducation.com. Enjoy the rest of this conference, and thank you so much for doing what you do. And whether you're teaching from home or you're in the building or you're a combination of both, just keep teaching art. We need you in this world.